The okapi, also known as the forest giraffe, Congolese giraffe, and zebra giraffe, is an artiodactyl mammal that is endemic to the Northeast Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. However, non-invasive genetic identification has suggested that a population has occurred southwest of the Congo River as well. It is the only species in the genus Okapia. Although the okapi has striped markings reminiscent of zebras, it is most closely related to the giraffe. The okapi and the giraffe are the only living members of the family Giraffidae. The okapi stands about 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder and has a typical body length around 2.5 meters. Its weight ranges from 200 to 350 kilograms. It has a long neck and large flexible ears. Its coat is a chocolate to reddish brown, much in contrast with the white horizontal stripes and rings on the legs and white ankles. Male okapis have short, distinct horn-like protuberances on their heads called ossicones, less than 15 centimeters in length. Females possess hair whorls, and ossicones are absent. Okapis are primarily diurnal, but may be active for a few hours in darkness. They are essentially solitary, coming together only to breed. Okapis are herbivores, feeding on tree leaves and buds, grasses, ferns, fruits, and fungi. Rut in males and estrus in females does not depend on the season. In captivity, estrus cycles recur every 15 days. The gestational period is around 440 to 450 days long, following which usually a single calf is born. The juveniles are kept in hiding and nursing takes place infrequently. Juveniles start taking solid food from 3 months, and weaning takes place at 6 months. Okapis inhabit canopy forests at altitudes of 500 to 1500 meters. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources classifies the okapi as endangered. Major threats include habitat loss due to logging and human settlement. Illegal mining and extensive hunting for bushmeat and skin have also led to a decline in populations. The Okapi Conservation Project was established in 1987 to protect okapi populations. Okapis are herbivores, feeding on tree leaves and buds, branches, grasses, ferns, fruits, and fungi. They are unique in the Ituri forest as they are the only known mammal that feeds solely on understory vegetation, where they use their 18-inch long tongues to selectively browse for suitable plants. The tongue is also used to groom their ears and eyes. They prefer to feed in treefall gaps. The okapi has been known to feed on over 100 species of plants, some of which are known to be poisonous to humans and other animals. Fecal analysis shows that none of those 100 species dominates the diet of the okapi. Staple foods comprise shrubs and lianas. The main constituents of the diet are woody, dicotyledonous species. Monocotyledonous plants are not eaten regularly. In the Ituri forest, the okapi feeds mainly upon the plant families Acanthaceae, Ebenaceae, Euphorbiaceae, Flacourtiaceae, Loganiaceae, Rubiaceae, and Violaceae. Female okapis become sexually mature at about 1.5 years old, while males reach maturity after 2 years. Rut in males and estrus in females does not depend on the season. In captivity, estrus cycles recur every 15 days. The male and the female begin courtship by circling, smelling, and licking each other. The male shows his interest by extending his neck, tossing his head, and protruding one leg forward. This is followed by mounting and copulation. The gestational period is around 440 to 450 days long, following which usually a single calf is born, weighing 14 to 30 kilograms or 31 to 66 pounds. The udder of the pregnant female starts swelling 2 months before parturition, and vulval discharges may occur. Parturition takes 3 to 4 hours, and the female stands throughout this period, though she may rest during brief intervals. The mother consumes the afterbirth and extensively grooms the infant. Her milk is very rich in proteins and low in fat. As in other ruminants, the infant can stand within 30 minutes of birth. Although generally similar to adults, newborn calves have long hairs around the eye, resembling false eyelashes, a long dorsal mane, and long white hairs in the stripes. These features gradually disappear and give way to the general appearance within a year. The juveniles are kept in hiding and nursing takes place infrequently. Calves are known not to defecate for the first month or 2 of life, which is hypothesized to help avoid predator detection in their most vulnerable phase of life. The growth rate of calves is appreciably high in the first few months of life, after which it gradually declines. Juveniles start taking solid food from 3 months and weaning takes place at 6 months. Ossicone development in males takes 1 year after birth. The okapi's typical lifespan is 20 to 30 years. The okapi is endemic to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. where it occurs north and east of the Congo River. It ranges from the Maiko National Park northward to the Ituri rainforest, then through the river basins of the Ruby, Lake Tele, and Ebola to the west, and the Ubangi River further north. Smaller populations exist west and south of the Congo River. It is also common in the Wamba and Epulu areas. It is extinct in Uganda. The Okapi inhabits canopy forests at elevations of 500 to 1,500 meters, or 1,600 to 4,900 feet. It occasionally uses seasonally inundated areas, but does not occur in gallery forests, swamp forests, and habitats disturbed by human settlements. In the wet season, it visits rocky inselbergs that offer forage uncommon elsewhere. Results of research conducted in the late 1980s in a mixed Cinnametra forest indicated that the Okapi population density averaged 0.53 animals per square kilometer. In 2008, it was recorded in Virunga National Park. There is also evidence that okapis were observed in the Semiliki Valley in Uganda by Europeans, but later became extinct in the late 1970s. The Semiliki Valley provides a similar habitat to the Congo Basin. The IUCN classifies the okapi as endangered. It is fully protected under Congolese law. The Okapi Wildlife Reserve and Maiko National Park support significant populations of the okapi, though a steady decline in numbers has occurred due to several threats. Other areas of occurrence are the Ruby Telehunting Reserve, the Abumambanzi Reserve, the Sankuru Nature Reserve, and the Lomami National Park. Major threats include habitat loss due to logging and human settlement. Extensive hunting for bushmeat and skin and illegal mining have also led to population declines. A threat that has emerged quite recently is the presence of illegal armed groups around protected areas, inhibiting conservation and monitoring actions. A small population occurs north of the Virunga National Park but lacks protection due to the presence of armed groups in the vicinity. In June 2012, a gang of poachers attacked the headquarters of the Okapi Wildlife Reserve, killing 6 guards and other staff as well as all 14 okapis at their breeding center. The Okapi Conservation Project, established in 1987, works towards the conservation of the okapi as well as the growth of the indigenous Mbuti people. In November 2011, the White Oak Conservation Center and Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens hosted an international meeting of the Okapi Species Survival Plan and the Okapi European Endangered Species Program at Jacksonville, which was attended by representatives from zoos from the United States, Europe, and Japan. The aim was to discuss the management of captive okapis and arrange support for okapi conservation. Many zoos in North America and Europe currently have okapis in captivity. Although the okapi was unknown to the Western world until the 20th century, it may have been depicted since the early 5th century BCE on the facade of the Apadana at Persepolis, a gift from the Ethiopian procession to the Achaemenid kingdom. For years, Europeans in Africa had heard of an animal that they came to call the African unicorn. The animal was brought to prominent European attention by speculation on its existence found in press reports covering Henry Morton Stanley's journeys in 1887. In his travelogue of exploring the Congo, Stanley mentioned a kind of donkey that the natives called the ati, which scholars later identified as the okapi. When the British Special Commissioner in Uganda, Sir Harry Johnston, discovered some pygmy inhabitants of the Congo being abducted by a showman for exhibition, he rescued them and promised to return them to their homes. The pygmies fed Johnston's curiosity about the animal mentioned in Stanley's book. Johnston was puzzled by the okapi tracks the natives showed him. While he had expected to be on the trail of some sort of forest-dwelling horse, the tracks were of a cloven-hoofed beast. Though Johnston did not see an okapi himself, he did manage to obtain pieces of striped skin and eventually a skull. From this skull, the okapi was correctly classified as a relative of the giraffe. In 1901, the species was formally recognized as Okapia johnstoni. Okapia johnstoni was first described as Equus johnstoni by English zoologist Philip Lutley Sclater in 1901. The generic name Okapia derives either from the Mbuba name Okapi or the related Lesecaro name Oapi, while the specific name, johnstoni, is in recognition of Johnston, who first acquired an okapi specimen for science from the Ituri forest. In 1901, Sclater presented a painting of the okapi before the Zoological Society of London that depicted its physical features with some clarity. Much confusion arose regarding the taxonomical status of this newly discovered animal. Sir Harry Johnston himself called it a Helidotherium, or a relative of other extinct giraffids. Based on the description of the okapi by Pygmies, who referred to it as a horse, Sclater named the species Equus johnstoni. Subsequently, zoologist Ray Lancaster declared that the okapi represented an unknown genus of the Giraffidae, which he placed in its own genus, Okapia, and assigned the name Okapia johnstoni to the species. In 1902, Swiss zoologist Charles Emmanuel Forsyth Major suggested the inclusion of O. johnstoni in the extinct giraffid subfamily Paleotraginae. However, the species was placed in its own subfamily Okapinae by Swedish paleontologist Birger Bolin in 1926, mainly due to the lack of a cingulum, a major feature of the Paleotragids. In 1986, Okapia was finally established as a sister genus of Giraffa on the basis of cladistic analysis. The two genera together with Paleotragus constitute the tribe Giraffini. The earliest members of the Giraffidae first appeared in the early Miocene in Africa, having diverged from the superficially deer-like Climacoccyridids. Giraffids spread into Europe and Asia by the Middle Miocene in a first radiation. Another radiation began in the Pliocene but was terminated by a decline in diversity in the Pleistocene. Several important primitive giraffids existed more or less contemporaneously in the Miocene, including Canthumerix, Giraffocryx, Paleotragus, and Samotherium. According to paleontologist and author Kathleen Hunt, Samotherium split into Okapia around 18 million years ago, and Giraffa about 12 million years ago. However, J.D. Skinner argued that Canthumerix gave rise to the Okapi and giraffe through the latter three genera, and that the Okapi is the extant form of Paleotragus. The Okapi is sometimes referred to as a living fossil, as it has existed as a species over a long geological time period and morphologically resembles more primitive forms like Samotherium. In 2016, a genetic study found that the common ancestor of giraffe and okapi lived about 11.5 million years ago. The okapi is a medium-sized giraffid standing 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder. Its average body length is about 2.5 meters and its weight ranges from 200 to 350 kilograms. It has a long neck and large and flexible ears. In sharp contrast to the white horizontal stripes on the legs and white ankles, the okapi's coat is a chocolate to reddish brown. The distinctive stripes resemble those of a zebra. These features serve as an effective camouflage amidst dense vegetation. The face, throat, and chest are grayish-white. Interdigital glands are present on all 4 feet and are slightly larger on the front feet. Male okapis have short hair-covered horn-like structures called ossicones, less than 15 centimeters in length, which are similar in form and function to the ossicones of a giraffe. The okapi exhibits sexual dimorphism, with females 4.2 centimeters taller on average, slightly redder, and lacking prominent ossicones, instead possessing hair whorls. The okapi shows several adaptations to its tropical habitat. The large number of rod cells in the retina facilitate night vision, and an efficient olfactory system is present. The large auditory bulli of the temporal bone allow a strong sense of hearing. The large cecum and colon help in microbial digestion, and a quick rate of food passage allows for lower cell wall digestion than in other ruminants. The okapi is easily distinguished from its nearest extant relative, the giraffe. It is much smaller than the giraffe and shares more external similarities with bovids and cervids. Ossicones are present only in the male okapi, while both sexes of giraffe possess this feature. The okapi has large palatine sinuses, unique among the giraffids. Morphological features shared between the giraffe and the okapi include a similar gait. Both use a pacing gait, stepping simultaneously with the front and the hind leg on the same side of the body, unlike other ungulates that walk by moving alternate legs on either side of the body, and a long black tongue, longer in the okapi, useful for plucking buds and leaves as well as for grooming. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumb up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content. See you in the next video.